Hi everyone, welcome to the next video in this series from Tiny Year by Agotapop, the Colouring Heaven magazine, page 20. These pictures are also available on Agatha's Etsy, in her Etsy shop, in her May Tinies section. There is a link in the description with a discount code for her items. Let's have a look. We've got a very pretty floral circle today. I'm just having a little look because some of the flowers are the same. So these three are the same and these little ones are the same. So I'm wondering whether to do a few of them the same as each other. I think I will. But this one here looks quite different to the rest. We'll start with this one. I am going to grab a yellow for the centre. Let's go for the dark cadmium yellow. There we go. These are Polychromos, by the way. And I'm just going to put a little darker bit down here. I could just draw a few little dots on this bit anyway, I think, to try and make it look a little bit darker. And then I'm just going to go to my next shade, which is the cadmium yellow. Oh, excuse me, a hiccup. I've just drunk a cup of coffee. I've been out already. It's oh, another one. Oof. It's 10:30. I wanted to go out before it got too warm. I'm going to use the light purple pink. I don't know if you can see that. It's so hard to see. And do the beginnings of the petals with this, so the bottom, and sort of fade it up a little bit. Yeah, I went out early because it's going to be sunny again today. It's not going to be as hot as it was yesterday, but I decided I'd go out early anyway. The boys are in uni a little bit later, so I thought I'd go out and get back before they had to leave. And then I would, excuse me, I don't know what happened there to my voice, and then I would be free this afternoon to sort of do whatever I wanted, really. Husband is home, but he's not feeling very well, so I don't know if he'll be around. This is the Pink Madder Lake. I'm quite liking these really pale tips, so what I'm going to do is sort of fade it off, so maybe the end has got a little bit of white on it. I think no, I think it looks like I've just not gone to the end. Never mind. Yeah, he's got a tummy ache. He's not sure why. When he eats strawberries, he gets a really bad tummy ache, and he said he's got one like that today. So I don't. But he hasn't been eating anything different to normal, so he doesn't really know why. Anyway, he's went back to bed, so that's fine. It's good. I can just get on with what I want to do. Right, this one down here does look similar, but I don't think it's the same. So I'm going to do this one a little bit differently. I'm just going to grab at random colours, see what happens. So this one I'm going to do in a purpley tone. We'll start with the mauve. Here it is, mauve. I'm not doing the centre yet. I haven't quite decided what to do. Yeah, so I had to pop out and get his medication. We decided to go, we were getting his ADHD meds from a private pharmacy. Basically the clinic posted the prescriptions to them and they posted out the meds. But what they were doing was they were taking like 5 days to send it out. And he was running out before he got it, because you can only order them sort of when you've got less than a week left. Supply left. And so I did some investigating. When I complained to the ADHD 360 and said, you know, this really isn't a very good service. And they said, you know, you can find your own pharmacy. And I was like, oh, this is manganese violet. I had no idea. And they said you can just take it into anyone. So I went and did some investigations. I think I may have related this already, and found that like the local high street pharmacists could get them in. So that's what I did. The script arrived a couple of days ago. Took it in that day. They said it would be ready the day after. They texted me. I which was yesterday. I didn't go and get it yesterday because it was late in the day and missing the afternoon, and they get it, and it was hot, and he didn't need them immediately. So I was just thinking he should really be getting up to take his medication, his blood thinners. Anyway, so I went and got it today, so that was good. And it cost me less money going through the high street pharmacy than it would have done. This is like cadmium yellow. So when I order through the private one online, they post it out. I'm going to use a little bit of green gold on the centre. Oh gosh, it's useless. On the centre bit here. So when I used to get it from the private pharmacy, they would charge me £120, or husband, whoever. And through Boots, who I went to, it was 96, although I had to pay £10 to have the prescription sent out. So I saved like £14, and it was far less stressful. So that's really good news. So a little tip for any of you doing that it might be an option for you. I did have to sign for it because it's a controlled drug, and this is cadmium orange. We're going to be doing these three in orange, and they had it locked up, which is fair enough, but they were quite happy to give it to me even though it wasn't for me. That's how they work in the pharmacies here, that if you can collect on behalf of someone else as long as you know their address. And I had to sign for it, and of course I live at the same address. They know me there as well, because I'm always flipping in there, picking up everybody else's. Actually, I'm my HRT, and their everything else. But there we go. So that was all very good, and I took my library book back and got extremely confused. I got a book out which was a biography of Laura Ingalls Wilder, and because I've been rereading her kids series that she wrote, it was quite interesting to read the biography about how some of the information isn't quite right. It's slightly fictionalized, which I think I knew, but which bits were and which bits weren't. It's more that things have been missed out rather than made up, but and characters' names have been changed and things like that. Now I'm going to use the dark chrome yellow for the ends of these leaves, and if it looks a little bit too yellowy, I might put a bit of darker orange here, but we'll see. So I took that back. Now the library wasn't open, but they have this sort of drop box where you can leave the books. Now in the old library, it's moved. You used to just push it through a letterbox. This one is, no, it's a computer, and you have to scan the book, and then it tells you where to drop it off. And I was being really thick. I didn't read the instructions. I just put it on under the scanner, and it said, yeah, finished or continue, whatever. And a light appeared on the machine thing, and I thought you opened a little locker and put it inside, because you could pick up books, so I assumed it was like an Amazon locker, but I couldn't work out how to open anything. And then I read the instructions, and basically you don't open anything when you're returning something, which just makes sense. This is the orange glaze. There is actually a little flap, and you just put it through the flap, and I think the flap unlocks when it's registered that the book has been returned on the computer. So anyway, I returned my book. I managed to fight with the technology. There was someone in there, and I asked her how she knew how to do it, and she was like, no, she was waiting for the library to open. It was about 9:20, I think it was opening at 9:30. There we go. Now in the centres, I'm wondering whether to do a sort of dark, I think I do want to do a dark, but not orange. Yeah, let's do this. Let's do a burnt sienna, because this is sort of brownish orange, and I think it'll look better than orange. So I'm going to make it dark here. Oops. and then a bit less in the middle. Now I will be using some white pen to make these look a little prettier. There we go. Now I've got this one. Probably could do with a red flower, I think. Yeah, let's do that one in red. Oops. Yeah, let's go for the dark red first and do the near the middle. So yeah, I found the book really interesting, although I skipped through it a bit. There was a lot of historical stuff, and I'm afraid my interest in American history is not great. So I skipped through quite a bit of that and just read, you know, about her specific family history and stuff instead. And it was interesting. This is the Deep Scarlet Red. The most interesting things I read were that she wanted the copyright to her book to be left to the Mansfield Library, and after her daughter passed, and it wasn't. Her daughter left it to somebody else, and they kept the copyright. And in the end, the library got a bit of some money, but not the whole, you know, all the royalties and things. I thought that was a bit of a shame. She also, the family had also asked for it never to be televised, which of course it was. But the television programme bore very little resemblance to the books, as far as I can tell. I do remember watching a couple of them. Didn't watch them often, they went on so much in the UK. And I remember, this is Scarlet Red for the tip, an episode where Mary got married, which she never did it. No, she never married. Because obviously the books are partly autobiographical, but not completely. So that was interesting. And I also remember they had a boy in the family, which again never happened. We're all girls. This is a light chrome yellow, but I suspect they put that into the TV show to make it, try and appeal to more boys watching it. That's what I see. Yeah. But anyway, there we go. Right, little blue flowers. I'm going to go for this. This is the cobalt green. I think it's a nice sort of turquoisey bluey colour. Be a bit different. So we have got turquoise on our butterfly right here, but what I'm treating each one as a separate picture. I'm not trying to match them up or anything. But yes, so I returned that. I read it in like a couple of days. I read books very quickly. As I say, I skip bits out that I wasn't so interested in. And I know the books have aged a bit, and the language that's used in the books is definitely not politically correct anymore. But I think as a historical piece, it's interesting. And we have to read it bearing in mind that views were different then, you know, and nowadays it wouldn't be an acceptable way to behave or speak or whatever. But as long as we accept that, you know. But anyway, that was that. So it's quite interesting. But I've still got a couple of her books left to read, because I was reading in the middle of the series and then I spotted this book and I got it out of the library, and I've got the last two to read, and then I'll have to start on something else. I want to move back away from fiction. Fiction isn't really my thing. I was just rereading them so I could give them away, which I am going to do. Although I enjoy the stories, really only the first two are the ones that I really like Cobalt, Turquoise, and my versions of the first two books are falling apart. So I just give it away, and it will clear some space on my shelf. Maybe I'll just buy the ebooks or something, you know. But also knowing that the copyright has gone to the wrong place makes me think, oh, do I want to be buying those? Not new anyway, maybe second hand, so I'm not supporting someone who they didn't want to have the royalties, or she didn't want to have the royalties. Anyway, it's so complicated, isn't it? But also her and her daughter didn't get on that well. and it's really interesting that, you know, you would just think they would. I don't know why. I mean, families don't always get on, but anyway, we've got election results coming through today, local council elections, not the whole country. Different parts of the country do it at different times. I think there's a sort of every 2 years. It's done every 4 years, so it's sort of staggered every 2 years. So in 2 years' time, the ones that haven't voted now will vote. You know. It's just this is light yellow glaze. I'm just quite interested to see whether there's going to be any local changes, because it's to do with local issues. It's not a reflection of what might happen in the country as a whole. So I'm not interested that X county's got this mayor and this thing and blah. It doesn't, yeah, it's not relevant. What's relevant is the fact that, you know, what might happen. I'm going to make all these leaves the same colour. So I'm going to use the leaf green to start with. So what is relevant is what happens locally, whether it changes the way our local council is run. And they've been talking about making some changes. Now, we don't have a mayor. We do have a mayor, but not in the same way. Like the big cities, like London. London has a mayor. 2 actually, but we won't get into that detail. So London has a mayor who takes quite a lot of decision making, and so do some other big cities like Manchester, Birmingham, etc. Now our county doesn't have one. We're quite small, I think, not important, but there's been talk of restructuring the way it all works and us having one, and whoever gets in might have some say in that decision, although I think that decision might be more at government level. But apparently there have been some very light green, cross-party, sensible debates within the council chamber about this, putting forward some different points of view to the government, to proposals for them to look over. But if the councillors change significantly, that might change the view on that. But councillors don't have a huge amount of power. They fund the local police force, education, care homes, things like that, and obviously those are important things, but they just allocate funding. They don't really do, we don't have local laws or anything like that. Now in the background here, I think I want to put a colour in there just to make everything jump off the page rather than being white. It's up to you. We haven't done that on any others, but I just feel like this one, because it's a circle, somehow I just think it will enhance it. I'm going to try it. I want to use a dark green. I'm going to use the pine green, if I can find it. There we go. And I'm just going to fill in all the little gaps. You can have a look and see whether you think it enhances or not. It's obviously up to you. I saw this really interesting way of creating a little sparkle in the background. It's not something we want for this, but if you're doing a magical picture and you want some little dots, I tell you, has to be a pencil background or pastel for this to work. And where you want your sparkle, you draw your white dot with your white pen, but before you do that, you get your eraser and you rub out a line there and a line there, a little cross, and then you put your white dot in the middle and you've got like a star shine. I don't know where I saw it. It was a reel or something on Instagram or Facebook, but I was like, that's genius. That's such a good idea. I don't know whether it would work on pastel if you did it really lightly. You'd need the background to be quite intense for it to show up, you know. And you'd probably need an eraser. Mine's away in a box. A small one, not a big chunky big eraser, but you know, one that's like an eraser pen or a pencil. I'll show you in a minute. Hang on. I've got to go into my box anyway. So that's my sort of background bit, but I'm going to do some white pen before we're done. I'll just show you the two types of arrays that you could potentially use. This one here is the Faber Castell one, and it's even got a little brush. So you can use that because you can sharpen it and get to a fine point, or you can use the Tombow Mono 01. You've got a sharp point. So that's the sort of eraser, rather than, I don't think I've got the big one in here. No, I don't have a big one in here. I don't really use them, the big chunky erasers. I'm sure you know what I mean. Right, my white pen. Here it is, Sakura. I can use the 8 because it happens to be here. Let's go. I want to put little dots around the centres of all the flowers, I think. I'm going to do them all the same. And then decide whether I think it's enough. Now if you want a heavy dot, do you see what I'm doing? I'm not just going tap tap tap, I'm actually drawing a little circle, and that gives you a heavier, more formed painty dot. If you want a light dot, which I can't demonstrate very easily on this, it's not what I want, you just tap it really quickly, withdraw your pen fast, and it gives you a smaller dot. But alternatively, you can just use the 05 if you've got different sizes of pen. The 05 is a finer tip, so it gives you a smaller dot. So there we go, we're getting there. Right, next I'm going to put in a little bit of shadow I had done on some of the others. I'll grab the dark sepia. You can't see it. And where they overlap, I'm just going to draw in a bit of shadow to try to make it look like it's not just completely flat. You may prefer not to worry about this detail. You might like the plainness of it without doing this, or you may just not want to risk putting this sort of dark colour on, and that's fine. You just do it to your taste, I suppose. I know quite a few of you will colour along and then change colours or things like that, and I think that's great. Use your own creativity, pinch my ideas, and then fiddle around with them a bit. I think it's perfect. I think it's how it should be, really. You know, copy for a while, build up your confidence, and then just do what pleases you. There we go. I think I am going to make that one do. I'm happy with how it looks. I think the dark green behind has worked really well. It just, and with the dark sepia, I've actually missed that bit. It just brings the flowers a little bit more forward, which is what I wanted to do. A little bit off the page, not completely, just a little bit. I mean, that looks like we could be looking down into a hand-tied bouquet of flowers, something like that, which I think is rather pretty. Okay, well that is me for today. Thank you for watching. Hope that you enjoy the rest of your day, and happy colouring.